the Golden State Warriors chasing the Chicago Bulls 72-10 record.
And Jason, continuing on our train, here we
What
go.
is the fact of the day?
The random fact of today, Jason Rubin, is that Steph is not actually Steph. What is his name?
I believe it is Wardell.
Yes!
Named after who?
His father, Del Curry.
I'm going to call him Wardell Curry from now on. And Wardell Curry starting in the All-Star game for the Western Conference.
One thing for me, though, it was very surprising to see this, but then it clicked in my head. I've met so many people in America that use their middle name, as I call it, as their first name.
Yeah.
So many. It's surprising me because, well, one, I don't have a middle name. I know I'm weird.
What would your middle name be?
Well, I have a confirmation name called Michael. So
I think Jason sounds nice.
let's move forward.
Francis,
So that was just that. So
Jason
now it's
Maxwell.
2-1. I believe Jason is clawing back on the random and interesting facts game.
All right, so the Warriors have the best start in NBA history. They are 47-4. The Bulls of the 72-10 Chicago Bulls in 95-96 season were 46-5. Got it right. So I went to 538. Who love to run numbers. So C08 is 538's projections as to where the Warriors will finish. And they project the Golden State Warriors will be 72-10 with a greater than 99% chance to make the playoffs.
Wow.
I actually think the Warriors could lose every game to the end of the season and they'd still make the playoffs.
Yeah, I think that was staged.
90% chance at the top seed because of the Spurs not too far behind them overall in the season, and over 40% chance to win the title. Some other interesting facts on this one. The Blazers
Come on, the Blazers.
are ranked in the whole league. Damian Lillard ain't an all-star. My
Unbelievable.
ass. Regardless, so the Warriors are 72-10. I think they break the record. And the reason I think they break the record is because they are chasing it. They said they're going after it. Draymond Green wants that record. Curry wants that record. And if you look at the teams they lost to this year, the Mavericks, the Bucks, the Pistons, they drop those games because they usually are coming off a back-to-back on the road. They have not lost at home, right? You play back-to-back games, it's more tiring. The first game of the season they lost after that win streak was against the Bucks, after a double overtime thriller against the Celtics, which I thought was going to be their first loss of the season. Almost was right. And they lost to the Bucks the next night. They got wiped off the court.
Yeah, this is what it is. Let me put this into perspective about how good this team is. I know I don't need to do that, but I'm going to anyway. You see a team like the Spurs, who are they're the staples of this league in terms of what they put forward. They work hard, they move the ball well, they're shooting so well this season. The Spurs have had their best start to regular season in their franchise history. But they still...
What do you call it in their club history?
In their team's history.
Oh,
but they still can't compete. Well, they still can, trust me, I know they can. But Golden State are still undeniably have the best record. That's in comparing to a team that I think is a joy to watch in the Spurs. They have a fantastic manager, coach, and they're playing very well. But nonetheless, this Golden State team, as we talked about with Dan, and we talk about every day we come in, we have a conversation about Golden State because it's so interesting. Well, it's unpredictable. The only reason they lost to the Bucks, I'm afraid, is because they were tired, right? And that is what's going to happen. To continue at this rate with the amount of games you have in the NBA season is phenomenal for me because they're able to continuously do it. They're able to utilize each. This is what I talked about before. I get excited when I say this. They utilize each player's strengths so well when they introduce them. When Draymond Green is on that court, they find a way to adjust so that it becomes a primary factor. They can utilize his strength.
I was going to say, and touching on Draymond Green, it's so funny with him because he's a better point guard than about 20 starting point guards in the league and plays power forward.
I know.
He's averaging over 7 assists a game. He's also leading the league in triple-doubles with 10, and his improvement has been mind-boggling. There's the comparisons. He's like the Scottie Pippen to Stephen Curry's Michael Jordan, right? The effect that he has on the floor. Different players. We get that. We've been over this, please. And also, he also has a little bit of Charles Barkley in him, into a way that he is 6'7". He is not a big guy, but he plays so much bigger than his size that he plays like a 7-footer. And the heart, it was always there, right? So Draymond's been a big staple to that. They have an upcoming road trip, I should say. They play Phoenix Wednesday.
Yes.
Barring even a loss still puts them at the best start for a season anyway. Then we hit the All-Star break, so they get about 9 days off. For some guys, they're going to hang in Toronto, so they'll be kind of hanging out playing, but it's still considered days off. There's not prep for the All-Star game. So they have a road trip coming up after that, and it starts in Phoenix, then they play Portland, Los Angeles Clippers, Atlanta Hawks, Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, and Oklahoma City Thunder. The back-to-backs are the Portland and the Clipper game, and the Heat and the Magic game, which means for me, I circle the Clippers and I circle the Magic. Not because the Magic or Clippers are better than the Warriors, but because on a back-to-back on the road, the Warriors are vulnerable. Any team is vulnerable.
What I would say is Miami Heat, right? Because in the form that you see Dwayne Wade in, coming back to, it looks like he's just been rejuvenated. I would worry in that game. I still think they will come away with the victory, but there are certain games that I've seen Miami Heat. I know we went to watch them against the Clippers, and the Clippers seem to turn it up in the third and the fourth. When they start to play well, when they have a great start, Miami Heat are a tough team to break down, right? And when you start to get, Chris Bosh is still shooting phenomenal figures. He's consistently shooting figures, often overlooked, still an all-star again. And when you get Dwayne Wade, they play off of each other very well. I still think that Golden State will win that game. But out of all those teams, I mean, the Clippers and Miami are two for me that I could see as being a banana.
What's so interesting, well, I like that you brought up Miami. Even though LeBron left, they still play LeBron's game. And that means you slow the ball game down to your pace, which is about it's about 30 miles an hour compared to the Warriors 60 miles an hour, or for the global audience, it's about 50 kilometers an hour compared to 100 kilometers an hour.
Kilometers?
Not bad, right? Not bad.
We've said this before. We said this when they were chasing the consecutive games in the perfect start.
They're chasing 33 wins, yeah.
They want this record. They obviously, when you're a championship-winning team, you've got a target on your back. It gives you that extra incentive to move forward. It gives you that extra incentive in every game you're playing is like a championship-winning game. When they chase the record, I don't think there's any team better equipped because they're hungry for it, and that for them is just as important as winning these regular season games. Because one factor I've seen in the NBA is some teams get complacent. The Mavs were playing very well. They went and played the Spurs, and after I think it was like 15 minutes, they just gave up. It looked like they gave up. Yeah. Because you got to take things into the bigger picture. If you're losing, like Popovich just said in the interview after they lost to Golden State, we almost had him. He was joking because he understood the bigger picture. Yeah. Whereas I think for Golden State, the biggest picture at this moment, yes, they want to win. They want to repeat. But I think they want this record as well.
I think they want the record and then the repeat, just to solidify such an amazing season. And at that point, as Dan mentions, the Spurs have been resting their team the entire season.
Yeah.
Pop has one thing on his mind, and that's rings. He doesn't care about totals, numbers, stats. He never has. And by the way, it's such a unique NBA season. It's not just the Warriors. The Spurs are right up there as going to go down as two of the greatest regular season teams of all time.
I agree.
If it wasn't for the Warriors, and their ridiculous win streak, they'd be a standalone. Their point per game differential is ridiculous. But as you can see, beautiful graphic for you. The Golden State Warriors right now rank ahead of the Bulls. I mean, winning percentage, if they finish with 4 losses, that's just stupid. And the Spurs technically have a shot if they go on a ridiculous win streak. But I think the Spurs finish around 68-ish wins this year.
But that's the difference.
That's a lot, but that's still, you're talking top 7 teams all time.
I know, but what you mentioned there is like they could be a dark horse in going for that record because they might play, like you get the factor of a team that wants to get it and they're hungry for it and they're playing for that.
Right.
And you've got the team that I think Popovich has got them, their bigger picture is the ring, is looking for the championship. But at the same time, that could work in your favour. If you're not taking it as serious, you're not getting as complacent. There's two sides of it there. That's what's so amazing about this season is people are often overlooking the fact that the Spurs have put together such an incredible run because Golden State are chasing this dream. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree with you, man. There's been 51 Warriors games this year, and I've actually watched every single one of them. I got the pleasure of recapping 25 of them, which has been awesome this year. But 51 Warriors games, something that the guys in 1995, 96 couldn't do. You couldn't watch every Bulls game. Fortunately, we live in a time where you can watch every Warriors game. And if you're not, you don't love the NBA. Comment below with what you think about the Golden State Warriors. Thanks for tuning in to TYT Sports. That's Francis Maxwell. Follow him at Francis_Maxwell. As for myself, at JasonRubin91. Head over to TYT Sports on social media. It's facebook.com/TYT Sports. Give that a like and go over to TYT Sports on Twitter and follow us as well. We'll see you next week.